Okay, welcome to the latest edition of the Iscah Q&A video series. This week we have a bumper 16 questions for you about accountants, New South Wales sponsorship, cooks, 457s, 189s, 187s, changing EOI dates, lots and lots of things. So hopefully this helps you with your visa situation. Let's get cracking. Okay, hi there. Is there any chance for accountants who hold 70 points, including 5 points from state sponsorship, to be invited by New South Wales for a 190 visa? Okay, so 65 plus 5 points. Generally, New South Wales are inviting people at 65 plus 5 if they have 20 points for English and 15 points for work. We've seen a number of invites at that level, and you'd have a fairly good chance within a couple of months of getting an invite if you have 20 points for English, 15 points for work. We have seen one at 20 points for English and no points for work for 70 points. They claim to have got an invite. We doubt that because there's a number of people at the same level who haven't got an invite who've been waiting 3, 4, 6 months. So we'll go with what we're more confident with, backed up by the data we've got, which is that you'll need 20 points for English, 15 points for work if you want to get invited at 65 plus 5 points by New South Wales as an accountant. Hi there, I would like to know, after lodging an EOI, can we add points to our EOI? Does that reset the date? Okay, so if you're going to, some things happen automatically with an EOI. If your age means that you get extra points because you go into a better age bracket, then you don't have to update your EOI, it will happen automatically. If you want to actually update it because of work experience, better English marks, professional year, something like that, you need to physically go in there and change your data. If that increases your points, you will be given a new EOI date of the present date. Okay, it's still better to have 70 points today as an EOI than 65 points having waited there for 6 or 7 months. So it's still to your benefit, but you will be given a new EOI date. It won't be the EOI date from when you first lodged your application. Okay, I've got a quick question. If you could assist me, I just wanted to know about the 489. Is it considered as a PR? Is it easy to get PR after you've been on a 489 in regional Australia? Okay, so the 489 visa is a points test visa. It's a provisional 4-year temporary visa, and it gives you really clear goals what you have to meet to get your permanent residence. Okay, generally you have to live 2 years in a regional area, find 1 year of any work at all, full-time, 35 hours a week, and hold that visa for at least 2 years. If you can tick off those 3 things, 99% chance you're going to get a permanent visa at the end of it. So it's not quite permanent residence, but it gives you a really clear pathway to permanent residence. So it's a pretty good visa to get if you can get that. Generally, you need a relative to sponsor you if your occupation is on the skilled occupation list, or you need a state government to sponsor you if your occupation is on one of the state lists. Okay, hi, can you please tell me the education requirements for a cook for a 457 visa? Okay, so cook needs a Cert 3 plus 2 years postgraduate work experience, or a Cert 3 plus 3 years work experience ever, including before you got your Cert 3, or a Cert 4 in commercial cookery, for example. Now the key is, if you obtain that in Australia, you can't obtain it unless it includes classroom study. Otherwise the department won't accept it if you're from a gazetted country that the TRA have got for that occupation. So for example, an Indian cook, if you obtain a Cert 4 through RPL in Australia as a cook, you can't use that for a 457 visa because an Indian cook will then be forced to go get a TRA assessment. Okay, you can use it for an RSMS, but you can't use just a Cert 4 obtained outside the classroom, so RPL, for a 457 visa if your country is on the gazetted list. If you're not sure if you're on the gazetted list or if your occupation is on the gazetted list, drop us an email, query, Q-U-E-R-Y, @iscah.com, and we're happy to help you. Okay, next question. My friend is married now. He went to Australia. His wife is still in India. If he gets a 187 visa, will his wife also be granted the visa? Okay, so it's okay for a person to apply for a 187 visa in Australia and his wife to apply from overseas at the same time in the same application. Okay, that's okay, as long as his wife passes medicals and police clearances and shows he's in a genuine relationship. she will also get the 187 visa at the same time her husband gets his visa. Hi there, I have a query about closely related occupations. My skills assessment is under accountant. I'm doing my job as a manager in a cleaning company. As an executive manager, I do budgeting, invoicing, etc. I'm just wondering, is it closely related to accountant, or should I get assessed as a managerial accountant for my skills assessment to claim work experience points? Okay, so generally in a cleaning company, you would not need a full-time accountant. You may be doing some accounts work, but it's more likely to be that of a bookkeeper or an accounts clerk, if you like. And so I doubt that the work you're doing is actually that of an accountant. The only way to know would be to send your work experience off to the skills assessing body and ask them to assess it. But generally, most people in a small business like that, the work the person is doing is a bookkeeper. It's not actually a professional accountant. Much different job. Okay, hi, I've obtained my visa in 2013. Can I move to a post-study visa? I don't want to apply for PR yet. I've heard the post-study visa is easier. Is that true? Okay, so certainly the postgraduate 485 visa for students who apply for their first student visa after November 2011 is an easier visa to obtain. If you have studied a course of a degree or higher for at least 2 years full time, and you've got the right English marks and you apply within 6 months of completing your study, that is a better way to go because you end up with a 485 for a longer period. It's at least 2 years, and you don't need a skills assessment. So yeah, if you obtain your first student visa after 2013, you should be looking at the post-study 485, not the old 485 visa. Okay, I'd like you to guide me whether my visa process would go on standby or not if I travel outside Australia on a bridging visa B. Would it affect my processing time? Okay, so the department does not stop processing an application just because someone's gone overseas on a bridging visa B. They'll still go through all the normal steps of document checking and making sure that all the criteria is met. If, however, when they come to make a decision, if you need to be in Australia for that visa to be granted, then they'll wait until you come back. If it's a visa you can be granted while you're overseas, let's say a 187 or a 189, you can be overseas for that grant as well, then they can still grant it to you while you're overseas, and of course you're going to be happy. But if it's a visa that you must be in Australia to be granted, then they will wait till you come back. They will not slow down processing except if they're about to make a decision. Okay. Can I book an appointment for Sunday to consult about my possibilities? Yep, no problems. You can contact us at any time. Our website is www.iscah.com, or give us a phone call on 089353 3344. You can book an appointment, or you can have a Skype assessment, or at any time you're welcome to drop us an email. We're happy to answer questions for you. My daughter was born in Australia, then we travelled to India 2 months ago. We forgot to get a 457 visa for my baby. Tell me what I can do now. We are in India. Please tell me if I can apply for a 186 later on. Okay, so if your baby was born in Australia whilst you held a 457, your baby is granted a 457 by law on that day. Doesn't matter, immigration don't know about it at this stage. The visa is granted by law. Now, if the child's then gone overseas and you forgot to get a 457 put in the visa in the passport or attached to the passport electronically, it doesn't matter. The 457 visa is still held by the child. Now you have to tell immigration, hey, my baby's been born, here's a full birth certificate, here's the passport details, and they will have the 457 attached to the baby's passport. Then the baby can come to Australia and potentially apply for a 186 whenever you meet the criteria for it. Hi, thanks for your reply. Another question. If I lodge my PR 189 visa and let's say I get a bridging visa bridging visa C with full work rights, what should I do with my graduate visa 485 application? Should I withdraw it? The reason I'm asking is because I've read online if I keep both applications, whichever is granted first will supersede the other one. Okay. Really, I'd keep both applications going at this stage as soon as, mainly because the 485 will be granted fairly quickly, and that is a better visa than your bridging visa C. So that helps you anyway. When your 189 visa is granted, you must withdraw your 485 straight away. We've seen situations where people have actually been granted their permanent visa at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they've left another visa being processed. In this case, was a student visa they were doing themselves. Didn't tell us they even had another student visa application in. The department granted the visa 2 hours later after they'd been granted their permanent residence, and the student visa overtook their permanent residence and they lost their PR. The department couldn't change anything, all the rules they'd followed, and so that person lost their PR and had to reapply for a permanent visa again and wait another 2 months to get their PR back. So you can keep both applications going, but as soon as you've got the visa you really want, withdraw the other one. You don't want that one to be granted over the top. Okay, I've got a general inquiry for which I would like to have expert advice. I've an old credit card debt which is due and I'm planning to pay it off. My wife's on a student visa, will be filing PR over the next year. Will me having bad credit affect the application? Okay, it won't. A credit card debt is not something that you need to declare on the form. It's not any sort of criminal event. It's only if you have debts to the Commonwealth, like for example a tax debt, that you may have to declare it and it could affect your application. But credit card debt will have no effect at all on your visa application. I've got an assessment for a 485 visa from the TRA for cookery. Can I use that for a permanent visa? You can't if the visa application needs a full skills assessment for let's say a 189 points test or 187 or 186, then you cannot use a provisional skills assessment. You must have a full skills assessment if your visa requires a skills assessment for a permanent visa. So you can't use a 485 for a 489 assessment, a 190 assessment, a 186 assessment. Okay, I've obtained my professional year. Can you please give me information about postgraduate and pre-primary teaching? Will that help me? Okay, we see a lot of students at the moment who cannot get to the pass mark in IT, accounting, auditing, some of the engineering occupations. What we're advising at the moment, and remember that's today's rules, we don't know what the rules are going to be in a few years' time or 6 months' time, but a student now who completes a postgraduate diploma, for example, in education, maybe a 12-month course, if that's in pre-primary teaching or secondary school teaching, after that 12 months, if they can get a full skills assessment, which requires really good English marks, then they can actually apply for permanent residence at just 60 points, because those occupations, pre-primary school teacher and secondary school teacher, just require 60 points. So 1 year study from now, you could well have a qualification that meets an occupation on the skill list, which isn't pro rata, and 60 points will get you at the moment an invite and a visa under that category. So it's a good pathway for a lot of people at the moment. Okay, let's see. When will the second invite be in November for the EOIs? And when I called immigration with my first EOI lodgement date of the 28th of August, I updated it to the 6th of October when my birthday came along. It gave me 5 extra points. They told me the effective date will be my first lodgement date, which is in August. Is that correct? It's not correct. You've got the wrong advice from immigration. If your points go up because your age goes up, or you get extra points for your age because, say, you move from 24 to 25, that's in this case moved your points from 65 to 70 points. Your new EOI date is the date of your birthday when you got the extra points. Immigration to tell you that your EOI date is your old date, that's wrong. We can see technically that's wrong on the system, and by law that's wrong as well. So sometimes immigration give the wrong advice. In this case, if what you say is correct, they've given you the wrong advice. The other thing is invites are usually on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of each month, so you can work out whatever date that is each month to see when the EOIs will be expected to, or the invites will expect to come through. Hi sir, I'm on a student visa and I'm applying for RSMS. Do I need to continue my studies or will I go to a bridging visa automatically? Okay, so your bridging visa won't come into effect until your student visa is finished. The next day, the bridging visa is in effect, and at that point, you don't have to study, you've got full-time work, everything's nice and kosher, really good. In the meantime, if you want to stop study, then the department can cancel your visa if you haven't finished the student, but if you're still on your student visa and you haven't finished the course that your COE was given for, then they can cancel your student visa. If you finished the course your COE was granted for, they normally wouldn't cancel the student visa. Often also, if there's only a month or two left, they probably won't even get to your student visa cancellation anyway before the student visa runs out. Bridging visa kicks in, and then the department have got no student visa to cancel, and everything's okay. Okay folks, that's it for this week. Remember, the rules are always changing, so if you have any questions at all, get in touch with us at www.iscah.com for a consultation, answer to a question, or find out how we can help you with managing your visa application. And I will talk to you soon. Cheers.